Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Myrna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. Isn't that the sweetest sound? That's the sound of another sale or another dollar hitting your Shopify e-commerce store. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, life coach Myrna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is a very special guest. He's none other than my firstborn son, and he is a political commentator, serial entrepreneur, and I just thought that I will bring him on and introduce him to the world and introduce him to you because he's brilliant. He's very smart. He keeps his nose to the ground about what's going on in life. And I am very excited of our conversation today. We're going to be focusing on three main things today. We're going to be focusing on race relations in America. We're going to be talking about this new word that I just learned, oligarchy. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about DEI, which is diversity and inclusion programs. It's under attack right now. So welcome, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing, folks? Nice to be here today.
Yes. That's awesome. All right. So, like I said, I just introduced, Kevin as a serial entrepreneur. I mean, he's had lots of businesses. Like I said, he's very brilliant. He's got an entrepreneurial mind. But one of the reason I wanted to talk to him is because he is very aware and is able to put himself in the situation about what's going on. And I will tell you, even though Kevin is Canadian, lives in Canada, the whole world is interested in what's going on in in America. I have friends from Jamaica. I have family member from the UK. Of course, all my Canadian family is tuned in and tapped in and turned on. I love those words by Ibram Hicks, into the lifeblood of America. What's going on in it? Our politics are not boring. So, to introduce yourself to the audience, Kevin, tell them how you became a political commentator and why this subject has so much interest to you.
Yeah, for sure. Saying like I said before, my name is Kevin Mortley. I am the son of this wonderful woman that's actually doing this podcast, Myrna Young, life coach, right? And to start off, this conversation, I think we have to give a moment of silence for those that died today during that airplane crash. And, I think we should start off there. So 10 seconds, moment of silence for those people, then we can continue with this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for introducing that.
All right.
Side moment. Amen.
Yeah. So for me, I think, when you become entrepreneur or you actually, have life skills to do stuff like that, you meet a lot of people and you go through a lot of things. I'm not a one to be a seniority-based type of person. There's people out there that think that, be this certain age to have knowledge yourself, or you have to be this type of person to have any adequate knowledge about, your surroundings. But yeah, I think everybody can learn, about themselves and about the world. And, like I said before, I went to school for journalistic and broadcasting. We had many businesses growing up, so it's just interaction with people. I think, if you're going to be a good entrepreneur or a good person who can communicate and conduct yourself in a oral fashion, then you have to be a person that is relatable to people. You could talk to people, you could, find yourself out of rough situations. And basically, I'm a purveyor of common sense. Common sense is not common, I believe, and everybody has their opinion of what a common sense is, right? So I have my own opinion.
Yes. All right. Okay. So yes, listen, I'm very proud of you. I know that you're brilliant. And I know that you've got a brilliant mind. So I'm glad that we're embarking on this podcasting conversation. All right, but
Yeah.
you just mentioned that you have been an entrepreneur and a great orator, and being able to connect to people. And it is very true. Everybody likes Kevin. Everybody, knows that Kevin is for the people. He would have made a great politician. But, and when I was thinking of this conversation today with you, I'm actually amazed because I have been a person that's into books for a long time. I mean, I was reading books, as a baby, right? I started off by reading the garbage, the Harlequin romances, because I'm into love and all that. But in my 20s, I stopped reading trashy books and I started reading self-improvement books. So I'm very surprised at myself that I have never come across or learned American history and understood slavery. And I'm reading books and I'm listening to books and I'm going into a different path these days about the compounding effect and the millionaire mindset and these things. And somebody said, read Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington.
Yeah.
And I read that book and I have been transformed by the information in that book. And then right after that book, someone said, I think it was Booker T. Washington, started talking about Frederick Douglass. And now I'm reading his book that says, what was it? Out of slavery, my bondage and my freedom. And that has put me in a whole new atmosphere about slavery and about the psychology of what's going on right now with the race relations in America. So I want to start off by saying that one of the things that Booker T says, which is fairly obvious, but when he said it back in the early 1900s, he said that a Black boy born at the same time as a white boy has a totally different life. One goes this way and the other one goes this way. And that's because the Black boy has many obstacles, disappointments, disadvantages, and you throw in the word there, temptations. And I'm thinking that temptations would be, to steal, maybe to get fast money, to whatever the temptations are, but you threw that in there. And the white boy does not have any of those things because he is white. He's got white privilege. All right. Most of the time he's coming from money. Right. And so the Black boy has to work twice as hard. Now, we've all known that, right? All your life, in order to be recognized, you've got to be twice as good as, the white person, right? So I think that it's from that framework that DEI, which is diversity and inclusion, was created in the workflow. I remember that's when we were naming our little Black girls and Black boys, and you're giving them names that is so Black.
Yes.
But they didn't even get called for interviews because you can look at the names and say, oh, this is a Black person. So the diversity and inclusion was there to give us a step up, right? Now the Trump administration came on board, and I think in the first night he canceled, diversity and inclusion programs, saying that it's racist against Black people. Now I've been hearing mumblings about that for a while now, right? That the one Black job that somebody gets over the white person, it's too much because they get 99% of jobs and the Black person gets the one. But they're saying that if you're going to give a job to a Black person because they're Black, then it's discrimination. So
yes,
we want to start off this conversation, Kevin, by talking. You're a Black man born in Canada, and in Canada, doesn't have the curse that Americans have regarding slavery, but their policies infiltrate everywhere, right? And you know that as a Black man, you have been racially targeted and racially profiled in Canada. So talk to us about this diversity and inclusion. Where you think it's going?
Okay, so I like to always go back to what you're saying. Booker T. Washington was a brilliant mind. I believe I never read any of his works, but as a man, I could feel his energy. As a half a native person, I feel that um, I deal with a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? Like I can spot somebody. This is just me talking. I can spot somebody and say that's a good person, and usually I'm correct, right? So the language, when people talk about certain things is very important, I believe. And even though Booker T. Washington was a brilliant man, he still had house black man syndrome in my mind still, because he's still calling us boys. We're not boys. That's what the white slavery used to call us, to make us feel inferior. So I feel maybe in that time he had to like say stuff like that so the black man can relate. And that's what that time the black man was called a boy. Even a grown man or a little boy was called a boy, right? So right there, to begin with, is just lowering the standards of the man, just to feel that he is inferior to the white man at on that instance, right there. And getting back to the DEI thing, I read something the other day that the people who actually benefited from DEI was white women. White women, inclusion. Okay, especially in military, the first people who were included, other than men, was white women. So they benefited from all those programs that they put into place, and they want to whitewash it and say it was just for blacks and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. To begin with, everybody takes the same test, right? And if you're not capable to do those type of things, you're not gonna be in it. You could be any race, you know. So for them to say that, it has to do with somebody's, your inclusion or anything like that. I'm not even calling race, because it's just ridiculous, right? So just to say that alone means that they're actually being covetous and malice to what they're saying, right? So for today, like I just seen this guy talk today, like about the plane crash. He's saying DEI was the cause for the plane crash, and he's talking about Biden, and he's talking about Obama. Yo,
Well, see, this guy,
you're a man. I don't care what man you are. I don't care what man you are. If you're a man, you take responsibility. If I go teeth a chocolate bar and I know I did it, I'll go to the prison judge and be like, yo, I did it. Give you my sentence. And you'll probably have some leniency on you. But this man doesn't have anything like that. And I'm talking about a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about a trans man. I'm talking about a real man, right? So you have to look at people in that form, right? In that form, like, if you can't talk truth to yourself, then
wow, that's good.
like you're not a real person. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I want to go about looking at people. Not race, not gender, nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what you say. You know what I'm saying? And you have to stand by that.
As we start the new year, are you feeling like refreshing your home? I know I did. I said to my husband, I think we need a new couch. And immediately he was on his favorite site looking at new couches. Our condo is currently furnished with coffee table, lamps, and rugs from Wayfair. We love the quality of the pieces and the prices. So, whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want some new looks to start the new year, Wayfair has got everything you need, all within your budget. Wayfair's huge selection of home items make it easy to find exactly what's right for you. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. We furnished our condo with Wayfair, and now we're looking for a new sectional for our single family home. We found a beautiful sectional, thousands of dollars cheaper than other furniture retailers. Free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. They'll even help you set it up. Find all your spring living essentials, storage solutions, decor, and more, all in one place. Get your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Have you ever noticed that whenever you search online for anything, then you find that thing on Facebook, AOL ads, or even your email inbox? That's because your activities are being tracked. Before I started using NordVPN, Norton would inform me that I had thousands of such trackers following me around. And of course, they wanted a fee to get rid of them. With NordVPN, not only did I lose the trackers, but I gained privacy at places like the airport or doctor's office when I'm using public Wi-Fi. NordVPN is easy to use. Connect with one click or enable auto connect for a zero-click protection. With over 7,100 servers in 118 countries, you get protection everywhere. One of the other features of NordVPN is the ability to easily switch your virtual location. Have you ever tried to watch a football game that's not broadcasted in your region? With NordVPN, now you can switch your location to watch all the away games and, of course, the home games. NordVPN is premium cybersecurity for the price of a cup of coffee. And one account can be used on up to 10 devices. Get your exclusive NordVPN deal here. Go to nordvpn.com/transform. It's risks-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Our link would also give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. That website again is nordvpn.com/transform. You can also click the link in the episode description. Well, it's really interesting that you would say that. But the first thing I said to myself, they always say that if you're a CEO of a company and something goes wrong, regardless as if your subordinates did wrong, you are responsible. But yes, the first thing that happened on
That's the chain of command. That's the chain.
That's right. He goes and blames the outgoing administration. You're very right. He blames everybody for everything. But that's his character. But yeah, so I couldn't understand why he was saying that it was a DEI problem. Was he saying that the air traffic controller was a black person and that they got the job?
All right, so that's what I'm gonna get at still. That's what I'm gonna get at still, because I heard just before this program, I actually watched ABC, right? And the audio of the air traffic controllers were broadcast, right? And I'm not trying to say anything, but the other guy sound like a black guy. It sounded like a black guy talking to a white dude. And they're like, what the hell happened? Did you see that? Did I see that? Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But 2 weeks earlier, he fired all the people from the FAA. He fired all the people from the Ministry of Transportation just the week before. And this happened. You got to coincide things together, right? He knows it was on his watch. That's why he's trying to blame other people. This is psychological stuff. If you ever went to university and took psych class, everything falls down the line.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yes.
When rain, listen, I could talk from a mountain, I could talk to a floor. If rain falls on a mountain, what does it do? Go down the hill.
Yes.
Right? If rain falls on the grass, what does it do? Into the snow.
Ground. Right.
Exactly. I don't even want to call common sense, because common sense ain't common. But you have to look at stuff like this and figure it out for yourself. That's it, man.
Yeah, well, yes. But that's definitely Trump MO. he blames everybody. So that wasn't anything different to me as far as in blaming, but I couldn't get the connection with the DEI. Why is he saying diversity and inclusion is responsible? You know, anyway.
It's said, like, I watched it just before the podcast. So basically, he's trying to say, like, for me, like, probably this is new to the viewers if they don't know. Like, I heard the audio. The other audio sound like a black.
You can't go by sound.
Audio was
well, that's racism, right?
That's how they sound. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man, so it sound like a black, right?
Okay, all right, but you can't go by that. He must know
him.
Know that it's a black person. He can't just go by sound. Someone must have told him that, right?
Yes, but I'm not. Maybe I've heard a lot of black guys, so I know the black, right? So he's saying DEI had to be a problem because he doesn't feel black people are intelligent, and that's very disgusting in my eyes. So I know where he's going. I really know where he's going still, what I'm saying? Because all the policies he's dealing with are going that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're going to say black people are not intelligent, you got something, you got a real problem with yourself.
Yeah. Well, we're getting off tangent here, but I've been soaking in that myself recently when I watched Michael Vick do this program about the black quarterbacks, and that they didn't think that the black quarterbacks were intelligent enough to carry the team. And now the whole NFL is full of black quarterbacks. We have 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So yeah. And then one of my very, very first interviews 7 years ago when I started this podcast was a gentleman that came on, and he's from England, by the way. So it's not even just here, it's a predominant thing. He's from England, and he said that when he started working, they told him that black people's brain doesn't have enough capacity as the white person. Just like how they said that Chinese people are smarter, they're saying that the white person have a bigger brain or whatever. And he had to go, and he said he actually believed that until he studied it and recognized that it's all bull crap. So, I know that the people are saying that now are not going by any science. They're saying that as a tool to keep down the black person. We're highly intelligent people,
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so like,
if that's where this
they if you guys want to go down that route, that could be a different podcast.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole that's very deep. You know what I'm saying? Sticking to the DEI conversation,
right.
That's people are very reluctant and talk about white supremacy. Like, what is white supremacy? Like,
right.
It has nothing to do with white people. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with white people, because all of us are spewing it, especially Africans, slaves that came to this continent. There's a rule, in war. If you know anything about war, that whoever owns the land makes the history. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we've been fed all our lives, and that's why this type of topic is kind of like niche, which it shouldn't be niche. It should be taught in all schools and stuff like that. But they have to keep that white supremacy, quote unquote, keep on going, so because there's money involved here. And there's people's minds, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want people asking too much questions, but then they're gonna want reparations, and after that, government's fault.
Right. So,
yes. We're trying to keep it as low as
my brain has been expanded by knowledge about all this stuff. I told you I've just gone down this rabbit hole. I listened to a program on YouTube on Sunday when I'm normally watching church. This thing pops up and I listened to it. I think I sent it to you. Roland Martin talking about follow the money. And the reason this is going on right now is follow the money. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, because we're going to talk about oligarchy. All right.
Yes.
That was a good introduction about, race and DEI. And thank you for clarifying that for me, because I didn't get it. So again, you've got your boots on the ground and you understand and you've been soaking in it. And I am just coming into this conversation. So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, The second thing that I'm not even sure if you heard this before, because it blew my mind too. Again, I was not in this history. But the second statement that Booker T. Washington made that penetrated and transformed my mind is that slavery set the Black race. Now, I'm not going to use man. I'm going to use race up for success.
Yeah.
He said that slavery taught the Black man to work hard with nothing but his hands. He learned trade, he learned agriculture, whereas the white man, when slavery was abolished, he didn't know how to do nothing because who was doing all the work on the plantation? The Black people, right? The white women sat around and had people fan the flies from them, did all the cooking and all the cleaning. And even to now, most of them can't even cook. Most of them doesn't know how to keep a house, right? And that's 100 years ago. So, but what he's saying that whenever you have struggle, and I think it's very true, because if you look at all the rags to riches stories, who are the people that rise up like cream? The people that are struggling, the people that are starving, the people that are homeless, right? They become millionaires and billionaires because of that struggle. So what he's saying is that slavery benefited the Black race because they got confidence, they got strength, they got a whole bunch of things that the white man didn't have. And when I heard that, I look at what's going on in professional sports now. It's almost all Black people, and that's because the little boys grew up saying, you know what, I got to be better, I got to be faster, I got to be stronger, and they're getting the recognition, not because they're slouches, but because they work hard in order to get that recognition. So let's comment on that. That slavery of reserve.
Like, like I always like to start from the beginning, like in my mind, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, slavery was a convenience that Europe had to do to get the Black man out of Europe to begin with. 1492, they always teach us about, that's when Columbus came across. But that was the last stronghold, and Granada was 1492. That's a little bit south of Spain, and it was strategic, to get all those people who were conquerors and kings and princes and things but money, because they were prisoners of war, out of there, right? So who brought Christopher Columbus to America was Black people. You understand what I'm saying? Because he had to basically benefited from this thing too as well. You know what I'm saying? So when they came here, we had all those damn skills already. When you really think about it, you gotta really think really hard about it. Like, people in Europe, they had no agriculture. They eat meat. They had to kill each other to survive, in that cold weather. We're the ones that knew how to do agriculture, how to make baskets, how to make pottery, how to do all these type of things. So all the people in the world they want to enslave, they're going to enslave the best, the strongest. Yes. They tried it with the Indians. They tried it with the Coolie people, like we call it back in our country. They tried it with all of them. They never got the same result. Right? Because they knew that we had that knowledge already.
And the strength, of course, right?
For the white man or whoever the white supremacists want to say that we learned this thing from slavery. We didn't have this thing ready, right? And when you talk about the white woman too as well, she benefited from it, and the white man benefited from it. The whole country of America benefited from it to make it the most powerful country in the world, because for 400 years they had free labor, right? So that's why we have this civil war, you know what I'm saying? And not even a civil war in America, a civil war around the world. Because even people who were even white wanted to do the same thing that the Americans did. So the white supremacy, like I said before, is not a white people problem. It's a global problem. You hear what I'm saying? Because he sees somebody, it's like you reading Donald Trump's book back in the day, Mom, remember? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I had that book. We had 2 of his books in my room. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And he was the greatest for us back in those times. He understood that's what it was, right? And people can't forget that. He might have turned into something else after, but that's why he got voted into the presidency twice.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So let's summarize that. So what you're saying is that we came here, the Black people came here with the skills that the white person exploited. We knew agriculture, we know craft, we know skills, we know cooking, cleaning, cooking and mending and all the things that the Black person did for the white person. So do you agree that they didn't know to do anything after slavery? And that the question was, do you think that slavery benefited the Black race? Or you
Never.
we already knew these things before, so they didn't.
Never, man.
Okay.
Never, man. Like that's what they want you to think about. That's this woke stuff too as well. It's the same thing as a DEI thing, but a different word. They're trying to like take slavery and Black history out of school.
Well,
in
we know that.
America.
Right.
I think they're trying to do it up a little bit.
If those white people were to read these books, okay, hang on. If those, one of the comments on, because I'm reading these books from, from YouTube, actually. I'm not even buying that. They're free, right? And one of the comments, one of the YouTube videos, the one that I'm reading right now, from Frederick Douglass, they're saying that every person should read this book, black and white. So if you're a young boy or a young girl and you're disgusted like I am listening to that, and that's why they want to take it out. Well, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the difference in the struggle good for you, and is not knowing crap and having somebody do all your work bad for you. That's really the question here.
Well, honestly, like technical skills, which I think a lot of youth are lacking right now, hands-on skills.
Yes.
It's always going to be good to you because most of the stuff that you're taught in the field, you get taught from your parents, right? It's a session going down from generation to generation. That's why the Africans never had written word. That's what they say. I believe different. You know what I'm saying? But what they say is that we never had written word, and songs. A song from your from a little girl in church, and they're still singing the same songs too. It's all about reciting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So any skill, if slavery or not, is going to benefit that person in the long run. But what did not benefit it, if I could say, is that we worked for free and didn't get nothing for it.
Right.
We plowed the land, we made the roads, we built the railroads, we built the houses, and didn't have nothing to show for it after we did this thing.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And I think that demoralizes generations, right? Your grandmother's going to talk about it. She's going to talk about it to you. It goes down the line of this depression. You understand what I'm saying? And that's generational. You know what I'm saying? So it's not nothing to say that Black people are hopeless. I can never say that.
No, they
You know what I'm saying?
hopeless.
What?
They're saying that
generations are ridiculous.
Right. Right. Isn't that the sweetest sound? That is the sound of another sale or another dollar hitting your Shopify e-commerce store or money hitting your bank account. As an entrepreneur, that sound says to me, Shopify is sending me customers while I sleep. I started my Shopify e-commerce store selling t-shirts with beautiful motivational quotes about mindset. I was able to get my store up and running easily from thousands of customizable templates. All I needed to do was to drag and drop. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret, Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%. Meaning less shopping carts going abandoned and way more sales going. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout as Allbirds or Skims uses. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/transform to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/transform. Yes, we're strengthened by it because you're right. We know how to work with our hands, right? Where a white person didn't know anything and they didn't have any skills because they figured it out. The Black people can do it. But let me circle back on something you just said there a minute ago. which is the focus of Booker T. Washington's book, was that
Yes.
they didn't want us to learn. And in fact, I'm at the chapter right now with Frederick Douglass when he was a slave boy and his slave master was teaching him to read. The wife was teaching him to read. And the husband says, no, you can't teach that N word not to read because then he's going to be smart and the two don't go together. Slavery and education. And right, they didn't want us to learn to read. They didn't want us to know the written word. They just want our skills and labor. You're right, for free, for nothing. And before I went down into this rabbit hole, I couldn't figure out why they weren't sorry. I'm saying to myself, you see the movies with Roots and you see the movies with 12 Years a Slave and you see all those movies about the cruelty of slavery. Why isn't the white man looking at that and feeling bad? They're not feeling bad. They're doing the same thing still. I mean, and now I'm understanding the psychology and I'm understanding that it's all about money and commerce because that's what this country is built on. It's money.
Yes, capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that is a good segue into this new term now, oligarchy. You know, Joe Biden and his closing message to the American people introduced the term to me. I don't know how many people knew about it before, but let me just give you a definition of what it is. The term means a small group of people having control of a country, organization, or institution. So just for conversation, I was listening to not my pastor, one of the pastors that I watch, Jamal Bryant from Newburgh in Atlanta. And he was talking about that 400 white people have more money than 4 million or 30 million black people, something along those lines, right? So that's what the president is talking about, this oligarchy, and now, before everybody wanted to be a millionaire, then they wanted to be a billionaire. Now they're looking to be trillionaires. No money is enough, right? So what are you thinking of is the agenda of the super rich? What do they want?
Oh boy. Dude, like these guys, especially especially when you're dealing with capitalism, capitalism has no ceiling, right? Especially when you're dealing with inflation and stuff like that. It has no ceiling. So what they're doing is exploiting all the smaller countries, right, to get more gain, right? So when it comes to like the World Bank and I would say that the United Nations too as well, and the stock market, they're all working together to keep the colonialism, right? The colonial guys still up top, even though they gave us back our country, right? A lot of people don't know once they gave us back our country, like Jamaica, Guyana, all these little, even the ones in Africa, Nigeria and Mali and Banakuso, I think I'm saying it wrong. Like once they leave, you're in debt.
Right.
You're in debt forever. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So if you're in debt, your money can never grow. They leave you in a bad situation to begin with. So how are you gonna climb out that hole when they stole all your riches, right? And the oligarchy to me is that they stole all your riches and keep you at the minimum level as possible for the longest period of time, right? And that's what's going on in society when it comes to capitalism. The person that's actually on the ground doing the real work is making less money than the person up there that's doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that makes completely no sense, right? Because the person that's actually making you the thousands and the millions or trillions of dollars, you're paying them less than a person who's on top not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's in reverse. So compensation for time for money, even though they say, oh, time is money and money is time, to them, it's a whole different world for them. Because Buddy could go play golf all day and he's racking in trillions of dollars when the person's actually there running his company making less money for him. Yeah. Right? And that's what capitalism is all about. That's what the world order is all about. Right? So for us, the small fries, that we're always gonna feel that we're taken disadvantage of. Of course, we're doing the hard labor. We're not seeing our families. The wife wants to leave us because we're not home, and the kids don't respect us, all type of things. But it don't people up there, I'm gonna tell you something. Their life ain't no better either. Because all the people that we look at on social media and the President Trumps and the Elon Musk, those men have been through thousands of women, been through hundreds of marriages altogether. Yes. And does not make them any more happier than the person that's working at McDonald's at the fast food line.
Yeah.
Right?
So why do they need the money if it doesn't buy happiness? Just for show? Just to say that you're a trillionaire? I mean, you're right. The money is not bringing them any happiness. Right. But they've always said that. Money don't buy happiness. It doesn't buy health. Doesn't buy happiness. So, which is why I'm thinking, why do you need to be a trillionaire? Why do you need to be a billionaire? I mean, that make no sense. Especially when you're still
it really doesn't. Like I said before, common sense is not common.
Right.
And, there are people, living on this earth way before money and coins and this stuff was going around. They're living perfect lives. You know what I'm saying? And they had medicine, and they had technology, and they had math, and they're doing it according to the laws of nature. What we're doing right now is against the laws of nature. Yeah. Right? So that's why all this climate stuff is happening, and that's why a lot of people are getting into the renewables. Right? This is science. You know what I'm saying? This is not just some fly of the pan stuff, because 300 years ago, we weren't talking about this. Now we're talking about this, right? So what I'm seeing right now is that the white supremacists, it could be anybody, want to bring it back to where women are in the kitchen and they couldn't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm making it, that there's a million different things they want to do. But, I know that they want to take it back to the 1800s, bro. We're in 2025.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I have a beautiful mother like you, and I got sisters, and I got aunts and stuff like that. I really feel sorry for you guys right now, man. I'm telling you, all the work you guys did through the 60s, all through the 1800s, everything just got wiped out in 2.5 seconds. So it's like, we gotta build it back. We gotta build it back from scratch again, obviously. So it's ridiculous.
Yes. You brought me back to a video that happened after Trump was elected. Yeah. And there's this white guy that was talking about why they like Trump, how they know how bad he is, but he's their leader, and women's rights gone, sexual orientation gone. All the things that he was talking about, all the stuff that Trump is doing right now, he's saying gone, you know what I mean? Because that's what we want him to do, and that's his mandate. And he is going after it with gusto. Nobody can believe he's only been in power for 8 days as of this recording, right? And look what the world is in chaos. It's not only our country, but the chaos, because you talk about energy as we first started. Yes, energy. It's it goes, right? The energy of what's going on in America. Everybody is watching the news, or everybody is going, whatever. They're feeling it too. It's been transferred, right? So, yes, then thoughts everywhere.
Negative energy is transferable. Saying everything is in hertz, and everything's in frequencies too as well. Like, I remember I was talking to you one day. You talk bad to one plant, then you talk good to the next plant. The plant that they talk to is gonna grow faster than the plant you talk to. Yeah, all of us are human organisms, man.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the feeling I want to get with the viewers. Feeling and facts and science all work together. Because at the end of the day, how would you know about science if you never had that feeling to begin with, to know that is right or wrong? Or how would you investigate certain things if you didn't have a feeling if that could work or not? Right? Everything comes from a feeling. Everything comes from a thought. Right? So, to follow somebody in, like, there's some old saying, like, what I'm saying? You're gonna fall. Are you gonna follow your leader over a cliff to kill himself? A lot of people do, but a lot of people don't too as well, right? So you have to have a infallible belief in yourself that, what is right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has different views about that.
Yes, yes.
Which I
Well,
can't.
again, couldn't understand it. Again,
Yeah.
couldn't understand it, but now it's becoming clear to me because you've got to go back to the psychology of slavery. It's all where it starts. You say, they say, in coaching, clarity is one of the biggest things. You can't make changes to anything unless you don't understand the reason, a cause, the source, right? So now I'm understanding what America was built on. And now I'm understanding what's going on, right? So
Mm.
it's yes,
It's a real crude thing. And you gotta you have to understand, they used to call us cannibals and savages and stuff, but the real savage and the real cannibal is them. You
yes,
know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, they came from a place where there was no vegetation. There was no life for thousands of years. You have to understand the ice age. That's what they became
mm,
fair skinned because of climate. You have to understand, we're all Africans at the end of the day. We all came from the same
yeah,
region of Africa. You
right,
understand? But they separated for so long, they lost themselves and they lost their own humanity. On top of, I'm not trying to say who's a savage and who's not, because people do this all over the world.
yeah,
But the brutality of slavery was nothing that was in Africa. Slavery was in Africa. It was called indentured work. You understand what I'm saying? Right? That's why the Indians came to North America after slavery, because they had a system like that in their own country too as well. Right? That's what the African was thinking, that they were enslaving their own people to do, but their form of slavery was cutting your guts out and chopping your head off and stuff like that. And you could
right,
look at medieval times. I was watching something just popped up on my feed, saying just random, of how King Harry used to torture his wives and killed them off and stuff like that. We didn't want them. That's what he used to do to women. And
wow,
that's what these people want to do too, man. Like, like, I'm not even gonna say the woman's name. You could do your own research, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they used to do. Women, they decapitate them when they didn't want them anymore, right? And
hmm,
make them feel that they were doing stuff inferious, or a witch or something, burn them at the stake and crazy shit like that. Sorry for cussing, but it's just wild, because I feel that this is what these people want right now.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the point that slavery was not just in America, and I'm glad you brought it. Again, consciousness is so important. You just mentioned that, yeah. Whenever something is going right someplace else, somebody else wants to do it. We can look at what's going on. I don't know anything about it. Just again, surface level. Apartheid, and then what was going on in India. And I was also I read this book called Life's Meaning or something, which is a guy that was in the concentration camp.
Mhm.
And he was
Yeah.
a slave too in the concentration camp. You're right. It's done all over the world by some very mean people. People that have no soul, people that have no conscience, right? So so I'm glad that we're leaving it with the consciousness of it's a worldwide global problem. Again,
Yeah, so the global disease on a global scale, I believe.
right. But, we focus on slavery in America, and I probably think that it was worse here than anywhere else. Again, I'm just reading it from, this focus right now. Right. So as we wrap up, I mean, this was a great conversation, son. I mean, I'm glad that you were, have your ear to the ground and becoming interested in politics and maybe becoming a political commentator and like you said, going to start your own podcast and talk about this stuff because you're seeing the reason the podcasts are
Yeah,
so
for sure.
are so popular
No, like,
because it's light. People are being speed views, right? So yeah, so tell your listeners about your businesses, and how they can get in touch with you and maybe follow you on social media.
okay, cool. Yeah, so, For me, I think I'm more of a creative type of person. So, I go by what I hear, and but what I how I feel about things too as well. As you can see, there's the banner behind me. This is one of probably the first businesses I started. This was a screen printing and media company called Tight Work. When I used to live in Florida, I used to hear people say tight work this, tight work that. And then it's music, the quality of work is tight, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to basically pursue that type of vision in tight work. And the reason why I chose this logo too as well is that it has a very political background. And people might emulate this thing as the Black Panther Party, but actually it was a party in Mississippi, one of the first Democratic parties in Mississippi that chose this logo to be their mascot. The white people down in Mississippi, they basically had their own logo, which was a crow or a rooster or something like that, and they wanted to combat that with something that was fierce and something that represented Black people, and that's why I picked this. I picked this for that instinct because I always want to teach, all people, not just Black people, but all people what things mean and what they really really do for the community too as well, right? So this is one of the first democratic logos of the United States of America, and I think if people really do know, Fannie Lou Hamer, Fannie Lou Hamer out with Mississippi, this is one of her original local constituents, and then the Black Panther, in Oakland took it over as their political party mascot too as well, right? So in the same vision of that, is all about community, is all about coming together, is all about conversation, is all about how we can make things better for ourselves because, especially in Canada, our government, too, as well as in America, they give us a lot of grants, they give us a lot of opportunities, to foster, education and local community upliftment and stuff like that. So, end of the day, anybody could organize any kind of organization. Anybody could organize any church or religious organization or anything like that and come together and get grants and get, not-for-profit status and go on the ground and get contributions for the community for things that you feel that the community is needed because the government doesn't always do that for us.
Okay, so you just want to talk about tight work. That's good. I mean, I didn't even know any of this before. I mean, I know that you've got how you named it and that is very impressive. So, what is your Instagram handle? I also know.
Yeah, my Instagram handle right now, guys can check me out at Braves Movement, BRAVES _movement at Instagram. And my email, you can hit me up on my email, newworks80, just like it sounds, 2 W's, at gmail.com. And if you want to continue conversation, I'm more than happy to reach out to you guys.
Okay, that's amazing. All right, that's good. I love it. Yes, of course. A transcript of my conversation with Kevin will be on the show page, which is myhelps.us. I would also link out to his Instagram handle. And he also has like I said, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's a chef. So I will also link out to his business of food delivery and cooking his halal meals. So and of course he mentions that he's a very, very efficient creator. Like he designed that logo. He designed the logo for shirts. He does t-shirt printing and things like that. So I'm glad to introduce him in all these different aspects: political commentator, a chef, creative as far as logo making and things like that. So So thank you, Kevin, for being on the show and teaching me a few things, you know?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And like I said before, you guys can reach out on my Instagram, Braves_movement. And you could also reach me on my email, newworks80@gmail.com.
Great. All right. So thank you. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in for this week's episode of Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life. Today we were talking about race relations in America. We talked about slavery. We talked about DEI. We talked about, a special mention to the victims of the plane crash, the tragedy, very young people on that plane. And I know that, our hearts go out to the family. And it's really sad that instead of us just, being sad, we're like throwing blame around. It's a bad look.
Yes.
Right? It's a very bad look. And I'm glad that, we were able to, lend some thought to that. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Love to hear your comments. This was a topic that we need your comments. You're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, and get into the conversation, get into the movement. All right. And, just like, share, and leave comments. So thanks again for tuning in. Thank you, Kev, for being on the show. Until next time, namaste.